because it's never. Boom! There we are. We are live. Oh wait, I didn't get all my fingers down. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat and Creole Catfishing. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What is happening? I'm doing awesome, brother. If I'd be doing any better, my name would be Roger DeMint. Telling you.
That's pretty good. I don't know.
Like that's pretty good, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Like that.
Well, we've got Doc Lange tune. He will be here in just a moment. He actually on Tuesday nights he gets together with a bunch of folks down around his place, and they go out to eat every Tuesday night. But Doc has agreed to leave the group early and come hang out with us. And but he's running a couple minutes behind because our food was so slow tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get things started, say hellos, and get that all out of the way while Doc gets himself in the house and situated and everything. And then we'll get this party started. But we got Mr. Tommy Long, Minnow Dunkers, in the house tonight. He's been keeping me informed about some crazy stuff going on here in Southern Ohio. Big shooting, body found in the lake or something. I don't know what's going on. Crazy stuff. We got Jimmy in the house as well. Avid, Stonefly 71. We got Jeff Barker, Big Skip, Larry over at 3+1 Outdoors. There's Skip Stewart, Clearview Outdoors. What's going on, brother? We got Dale Hayslip. We got Richard Cluck over at Whiskers and Stripes, channel member. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. And we had a lot of hellos.
Mr. Stonefly 71's in the house. I see Bobcat, one of my bumping brothers. What's happening, Bobcat? I see Mr. Ian Tipton joined us tonight. What's going on, brother?
They're here, Ian. Slime Booger.
Oh.
I'm a Slime Booger Catfish Crew. That
is awesome. I like that.
That's pretty slick, like ain't it? And it was orange, man.
Oh, hey, there you go. That's your color.
And it was 2X. That's extra fluffy.
Extra fluffy. Ooh, I ain't going to say how many X's I got then. We're not going to go into that discussion tonight. I see Chris with Hooks and Hammocks. I see Mr. Paul Edmiston. How you doing, sir?
Paul, what's up, buddy?
See who else we got. Mr. Chucky Morgan. I see him. Mr. Jason Lamb. JP Jr. What's happening, my friend?
I heard he was looking for me at the Catfish Conference. So we'll touch base on that here in a minute. I couldn't make it this year, but
he wasn't holding a bat when he said that, huh?
Oh, I didn't ask.
Always ask. Always.
We got James Kirkpatrick in the house as well. We got Harold Bolton.
Harold Bolton. That's a new name. Welcome to the show.
I don't remember seeing that name before. We got Kevin over Palmetto Cats, Jason Lamb. Let's see. I think I missed a couple people. I scrolled.
Mark with Catfish and Crappie. What is happening, my friend?
Aaron, local brother here in Ohio, Robert. What's going on, buddy? Ooh. Sandy. Was crack-a-lacking? Whiskers and Dreams. I don't think I'm catching up. I think I'm getting farther behind. We got 56 people in chat already.
I know, right? I see Miss Sandy. I see Bugman 22. I see Whisker Dreams. Let's see Stonefly. I'm gonna shout him out again. I know it's Saturday. Trophy Seekers Outdoors. What's up, Daryl? Fishing with the Squirrel. Lance McCoo. What's going on? Facebook user. Hello. You give them permission, we'll know who you are. Just saying.
Yep. You got to give. Facebook won't give anybody your name and information unless you let them. So that's what's going on. Hey, we got Fat Boy Eric in the house, channel member, saying Team Better Cheddar. What's going on, buddy?
Yes. Chad. What's up, Chad?
Chad's in the house. Man, we got everybody rolling in. We got Quiet Man Curse. We got Daryl over at Trophy Seekers Outdoors. We got Chris and Telly with Hooks and Hammocks.
Zach, now the River Warriors are complete. Zach is in the house. What's happening?
Trifecta.
That's the word I was looking for.
Trifecta. We got Aaron, Catfish Regulators, Kevin Baker, Nuts and Bolts, Fishing with the Squirrel. We got our brother over at War Pig Catfishing. What's going on, Bill Hopper? Quiet Man Curtis in the house as well. Holy cow. I'm trying to catch up. Help me.
Freddie. What's happening, Freddie?
Got to do a little fishing with Freddie this last week. It was a good time. Good time.
Mrs. Amy Evans, the better half of that power couple. I have to agree.
It's going to be a good weekend fishing coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We got Catfishing with Cost, another channel member. Brenda, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you being here. We got Lance, my cool guy. What's going on, brother? We got Randy Moen. I seen David Smith in there as well. Woo-wee.
I know. I keep trying to get to the bottom, and hey, that's a good sign when we can't catch up and chat. I love it.
Catch up. I see
Mr.
Danny Stone.
Danny Stone, what's happening?
Here we go. Facebook user Kevin Walters. What's going on, Kevin? Thanks for stopping in. Oh man, oh man.
We may down east tackle. Josh, my brother. What's happening, man?
We got Van V3 Customs, another channel member. Thanks for stopping in, brother. And gee whiz, holy cow. I think
Miss Jennifer Hopper, I see Buckeye Catfishing.
Buckeye Catfishing. We got another Ohio one here. Brandon Enix over at Catfishing Dreams. What's up, buddy?
Patriot. What's happening, my friend?
Is that Patriot James?
That is the Patriot James, the one and only.
Oh man, if you didn't catch Chris Souter's review on your floats there just a little while ago, you definitely got to go back and check that out.
He gave me all kinds of
live and gave his full 2 cents on what he thought about him.
Mm-hmm. And did you see that smile on Chris's face when he said, "Oh, we go put him to use. We gonna use it." He was all excited.
Oh, he was like a kid. As soon as it lit up, as soon as he realized it had a light in it, Chris was he just perked right up,
man. Like a kid at Christmas. I love it.
So,
Mr. James Fox, I see, is with us. Let's see.
That's Bank Fox right there. That's
LG, what's happening, brother? And I got your stickers, by the way. Thank you very much, Tom. As soon as I get a little time, I will have some of mine coming your way.
LG Bass. Matter of fact, we'll just go ahead and do that right now since how we're talking about it. I'll tell you what, Tom, I don't know who made your stickers. I got a good idea. These are some excellent quality stickers, man. Excellent. We're gonna go over here.
Put them on the wall of fame back there.
The wall of fame, right there. You are, man.
Wall of fame, baby.
Wall of fame. We got. What else did we get this week? We got old Pork Chop, William Warner.
Awesome.
We got that one as well.
Awesome. In fact, I'm looking at Down East Tackle here. We will be giving some of his homemade rigs the old Louisiana try run here in not too long.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna put them through their paces down here in these hogs in Louisiana, and we will definitely put them to use and let everybody know what the deal is.
We got Mike's Fishing Home. We're gonna get these guys up on the board. So, who all made it to the Catfish Conference this week? I know that Jeremy and I did not make it. I will get you a Monster Cat sticker. Heck yeah! I just happened to stumble upon your channel earlier today. Somebody had posted on Facebook to check you out and be watching for your content this year. So
cool. I'm
looking forward to it.
What's happening, Dan?
Right there, we got Mike's Fishing Home on the board. So, man, I tell you what, watching the pictures roll in from the Catfish Conference, I felt like the last kid being picked at dodgeball. Man, I was like, man, I want to be there and hang out with everybody. Mad Catter's in the house as well. Mike. He said Mike, but I was Dan Green Machine. What's going on, guys? Brad Cotto's in the house. What's up, Brad? So yeah, there was a lot of photos, a lot of videos, a lot of talk about the Catfish Conference over the last week, and there was a post I saw that sticks out more than anything, and it was the group photo, one of the group photos.
Oh yeah,
and the comment was, "We're all family. We may not know each other." But we're bound together. We're family nonetheless, and I thought that was pretty cool, because that's pretty much how I feel like this whole community is.
Exactly.
You've got you can't get along with every single person. It's just not possible. But it's just like a family. You got dysfunctional family members just as well as anywhere else. So, Doc Lange, are you still in the water?
No.
There he is.
Hey, did you just knock the dust off that thing?
Yeah. It was all blurry. I seen it was all blurry. I I got to change this.
Hey, buddy. Hey,
Oh,
thank you
wow.
for joining us. What a
That's
day.
awesome.
What a day. Everybody has seen the pictures pour in of the big, what is it, 71 point, what was it?
71.3.
71.
Yeah. There's somebody already calling me.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter calling me. So, yeah, I had a pretty good day on the water. I ended up catching 9 fish altogether.
Okay.
338.30 pounds. So
9 fish. Wow.
yeah,
Fish.
37 pound average. That was pretty good.
Ooh, yeah.
No kidding, buddy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so talking with you the last week or so, you said the fishing down there has been pretty lousy. Even the bait was tough yesterday to get.
Yeah, the bait has been tough for almost 2 months. Don't know why. Have no clue. I've been searching the creeks. I've been all over everywhere, catching a few here and there. I spent 5 hours on the water yesterday doing nothing but bait fishing, and I caught 5. So, and I gave 2 of them to my partner, Chris Fuller. And when we have a tournament Saturday. Lisa's North Alabama Catfish Tournament Trail is Saturday. Gotcha. And Chris goes in his boat and I go in my boat. And he goes on one end of the lake. I go on the other end of the lake. I picked a good end to go to today because he
yeah, you did.
Yeah, he ended up he ended up with a 35 pound fish, but I was just I got lucky.
You did a little better than that, didn't you?
Yeah, just a little bit.
We both know that Doc Lange doesn't have to rely on luck. You got old school talent and just tons of experience to boot.
Yeah, and I like 2 things I like, especially down here. One, I love current, and if it's mixed with structure, that is right up my wheelhouse. And today everything was, all the fish I caught today I marked. I'm using Lowrance Electronics. What's nice about down here is, you've got structure. Mm-hmm. And, if I mark structure and I see the shadow, like the trees that are down here on Wilson Lake are cedar trees. So they're not going anywhere. I've left enough hooks and everything else on them trees. You just don't uproot them. So they're a solid piece of structure that's sticking on the bottom. Most of them are standing. We've seen some trees, some 40, 45 foot trees standing in the water, in 70 and 80 foot of water.
Oh, yeah.
My partner is very good at wrestling fish out of those kind of trees. Me, I'm terrible at it. I'm still learning. He's still teaching me how to do that. On the other hand, today, I was picking on trees that were in about 20 to 30 foot of water. Mm-hmm. And the fish were in the feed mode. And when I'm talking about they're in feed mode, they're not behind that tree. They are in front of the tree. So what I saw today as I scanned was I saw a tree, saw the shadow of a tree, and then the fish sitting right in front with a big shadow. And, so what I do is I drop a mark right on that fish. Immediately, it tells me how far away I am from that fish.
Right.
What I do is I go about 150 to 170 yards above the fish, and then I drift back down, and I usually anchor with a trolling motor.
Right.
That way, if I have to adjust, I can just hit a button.
Yeah.
Where I need to move. So, my sweet spot is about 125 feet. I know I can just a nice, easy lob. I can get my bait back there. And the bites were coming extremely fast. I had caught a 35-pounder. I had gotten out the third rod when the 35-pounder buried the line down. And so I got him in the boat, and then I immediately, if I catch a 35-pound fish, I move off of the structure. Usually you're only good for one fish on that kind of structure. I've never been lucky enough to get two fish to come off a big structure. It's just, Chris and I have gotten in the habit. We catch a good fish, we just pull off and go someplace else. So
why do you think that is, Doc?
I don't know. Well, I think a lot of these big fish are loners. They're like me. They're single. They're homebodies, and they don't want nobody else messing around with them. So
they kind of protect their territory. They run everything else off, and they're just kind of they don't want to have to.
Yeah, because if you catch a small fish in that area, that big fish, there's not going to be a big fish there. I tell a lot of people don't leave fish to find fish. Now, the only time I go off of that rule is if I'm catching a lot of little fish.
I got you.
Right. If I'm catching a bunch of little fish, there's no big fish around, because if that big fish was around, those little fish would either get ate or they're out of the area. So.
Yeah, that does make sense, because I've seen that in my area in the past. Catch a 5, catch a 7, catch a 10, and get consistent bites. Then all of a sudden, like you turn the switch, shut down. Then 10 minutes later, berries, 40, 50, 60-pound fish.
Yeah, when I'm dragging, a lot of times when I'm dragging, I drag whole baits. I drag 20-inch skipjacks. And they're way out behind the boat. Right now, I'm not dragging because we've got tons of current.
Yeah.
But I've got them way out behind the boat, and the little guys will come up and they'll just sit there and hammer that fish. You'll see that rod going like that, and then all of a sudden it'll stop. And when it stops, I just sit there and wait.
Get ready.
Boom.
Yep.
You can almost guarantee there's going to be a big fish has gotten into the party, and he's decided to ruin everybody's day for him. Makes my day. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember that exact same thing happening to Zach and I when we were down there. We noticed that on more than one occasion where we were getting dink bites and small fish were just pestering, and then all of a sudden things just calmed down for a little bit, and then it was
and then you get hammered.
Then you get a big fish,
yeah.
So you run into Lowrance.
Yes.
So what are
I have two Lowrances on board my boat. I've got a 12-inch HDS Live that I'm using, and then I have a 12-inch TI unit that I use strictly for mapping. I don't use it for anything else. So I've got it up on the mapping side, and then I've got the big 12 on the other side that I've got it on side scan, down scan, and 2D sonar. So I'm constantly seeing, when you go over top of the tree, you'll see the tree off to the side, and if you go directly over top of it, then it shows down on the down scan. Now, a lot of times your side scan, you won't see the fish, but if you'll pick it up on the 2D or the down scan, and it comes out real clear.
Yeah.
Rock, do you run a stinger hook with them huge baits? Normally I don't, but things changed here in the last week. My tournament partner is going to shoot me for this one, but a couple of weeks ago, I saw a picture on the internet of a guy that was building some hooks for the fountains. And anybody that knows Donnie and Lonnie, those guys are always catching big fish, and I say, okay, I got to get in to see what these guys are doing. So whoever builds their units, he snells a hook on the bottom. Then he's got a bead. Then he's got a piece of plastic tubing, and the hook above, and another bead. And then the hook above is free, so it just slides up and down the leader line. So you're not, if I put on a monster skipjack, a 20-inch skipjack, I can put the bottom hook in his nose, and then I can move that other one and put it anywhere on the body. I really like that.
What
are you doing with all these pictures? Uh-oh, somebody.
I was trying to get your pictures from today's.
From today?
In the background. Yeah, I was going to try to pull it up there. But
yeah, and today, what was odd is today I caught all the fish I was catching were all on that double hook rig. Now, I wasn't running big baits. I run what we call a spongebob, which is a bait about that size, maybe about a 50-cent piece. Really? But I had 2 of them on that double hook rig.
Okay.
The 35, he had both hooks down his throat. The 71 took the top hook, and so he took the free hook.
Gotcha.
So,
but that is interesting about having that hook slide, because essentially,
it's a slick way to do it. Yeah,
you can adjust it for whatever length bait you have,
depending on your bait. Yeah, exactly. And you can put it, and you can actually put it on there forward or backward, which it's different. So it's just I made one, and I just said, well, I'm going to try it out. The other thing that I've done is I bought some Ancient Mariner reels, and I bought 2 of those from Cat Mama Industries, and that's a big shout out to him, Robert Gilchrist. And I told him, I said, I'm going to try to do everything to break these things. Well, he had told me that they take the main they take the main gears out and they change them when the reels come in. So that reel today caught 5 of the fish. It caught the 71, the 50, the 245s, and the 35-pounder all on the one reel. Wow. And when the 71 hit, he never stopped. When he dropped the rod, it was for 20 minutes, he was pulling drag.
Wow.
So,
I love those.
Yeah. And, my big thing when it comes to reel, I want a smooth drag that's coming off of it. I don't want no chucking and stuff like that. And you'll see that a lot. And so, and I told Robert, I said, I'm going to try to do everything I can to break these reels just to see if they'll hold up to the fish that I like to catch.
Oof. So, Doc, I know you do all your reel maintenance and stuff yourself. So, do you upgrade the drags on yours, or do you use any of the drag grease or anything like just to make them smooth?
No. Well, I got a sponsorship from
River Rat.
River Rat Reel Repair. So I give I used to do mine all the time, but now I just give them to Jarrett and let him do it.
I don't blame you at all.
My 2 favorite reels he's had for a long time. He's trying to find gears. Most of my reels are 30 years or older. Wow. Those 2 are my oldest, and they're both 35 years old. And he's trying to find the main gears on them. I wore out the big gears that are inside of. I've literally worn them out. But I'm hoping he'll find something. So. I just bought these 2 Ancient Mariners. I just wanted to try them. Just, heard good things about them. They got a lifetime warranty on them. Robert does a few different, they're done a little bit different. As soon as he said, well, we changed the main gears on them and that kind of stuff, I said, oh, that makes a difference right there. So, and naturally, I get it home and I got to tear it apart. I got to look at it, and sure enough, it's got good gears inside of it. And I said, all right, we'll just see how this holding up. So today it did a good job. I'm pretty impressed with them.
Yeah. Well, even like with your older reels, like you said, you've got reels that are 30, 35 plus years old.
Yeah.
After that much time, I don't care how good a reel is, parts wear out, parts break. I mean, look, I'm
like any maintenance thing.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I'm about as old as some of your reels. And look, I've had parts replaced. I've got stuff that's wore out. You know, it happens. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
What Skip's been doing a series of maintenance and
upgrades. That's good.
And he just about got my confidence up enough for me to start tearing into mine. So I was just kind of curious.
Well, you can go on the web and you can download all the schematics to every reel. You know, especially if you're running Abus, and mainly, you know, most of my reels I've got are all Abus. So, you know, but right now it's just tough to get parts for anything.
Yeah.
So, and you run the 7000s though, correct?
Yeah, I run 7000s. I've got a couple of Shimano. When I'm back bouncing on Mississippi River, I run a Shimano. I run a Shimano line counter because I want to know how much line I've got out when I'm back bouncing. My sweet spot is like 150 feet behind the boat. Once I get to 300, if I'm back bouncing 2 ounces, I have trouble feeling it.
Yeah, that's a long ways. Zach wants to know if you're ready to go bumping again. I hated to put that up there because I'm like, it's my turn.
We had an epic day together on the river last year. I think we caught 29 fish.
Wow.
And right before lunch, you know, I had put like a solid 45 pounder in the boat. And I was pretty pumped up. I said, I said, I got this. He goes, well, let's make one more drift. Darn, if he didn't make a drift, and he caught a 60 pounder.
Yep. Black as coal. I just saw that picture today. As a matter of fact. And I noticed today your fish was very, very dark.
Yeah, he came out of shallow water. And when I talk about shallow water down here, I figured 20 feet and less. It's one of my favorite areas to fish. A lot of people don't fish the shallow water, but you know, when I lived in Ohio in the spring of the year, that's the first place we headed with shallow water. So I've been trying it down here, and it works. Minnow dunkers. I remember the Langes catching good fish up here 25 years ago. Oh, Lord.
You know who that is, right?
No, I don't know.
Tommy Long.
Oh, okay. My old buddy Tommy. Actually, he sent me a bunch of texts today.
Yeah. Big Fox was in here as well just a little bit ago. I'm not sure if he's still hanging out. So when you're using these electronics, you know, let's say, because we get this question a lot. Now, I love to ask different people this question, and I know you've had it before, but you know, when you go to a new body of water, you know, using your electronics, what is the first things that you want to go look for, or the things that stick out in your mind to say, hey, James is still in here. Bank's still hanging out. He's watching.
There he is.
The very first thing I do is start looking for ledges. And a ledge is when you look at your chart, when you see them lines all smashed together real heavy, those are the ledges. Fish, especially blues, use those as highways. So I started looking for ledges, and then I tried looking for something that's different. You know, I don't like to see a straight ledge. I want to see a turn or a bend or something. And then as soon as I see that, you know, we'll start looking. Even if I don't mark a fish, you know, a lot of times I'll just drop a bait in that area just to see if there's one that's just outside of the zone or something, especially if you've got current. And, you know, you drop a bait on the bottom, and once it gets set up and then it starts leaching out the smell, you know, they're going to, but, you know, I am a heavy ledge fisherman.
Absolutely.
You know, and when we're dragging, we're targeting ledges. And the problem here on Wilson Lake is when you're targeting a ledge, there's always a Sherwood forest of trees that you have got to drag through. But if you can make it through the trees, you're going to get into the fish.
Yeah, I remember instance Zach and I were dragging down there, and we I don't know if we just weren't paying attention to the graph or what, but we ran over a tree, and I think it took every single rod and every rig we had. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah. And we catch a lot of there's a lot of old trot lines. We brought up a bunch of old trot lines. You know, there won't be anything, and all of a sudden you got every rod buried. The boards are buried on the outside, and oh man, we got a trot line, and you pull it up because some of the trot lines down here still got the old glass bottles that they use on floats.
Wow.
I'm starting to get a kind of a collection here at the house of those kind of stuff. So
now we had an instance of that. Zach and I were anchored in some really deep water on top of some trees, and he caught I think a really good fish and pulled him down into a trot line. And we fought it back and forth. And finally we decided, we can't get this fish out. We ended up tying a pop bottle to his line and cutting the line and seeing if that fish could get himself out. And, we went back and checked. Can't remember a little while later, but we didn't end up getting the fish. But what we did pull up, we got snagged on a couple rods, and we ended up pulling up pieces of trot line and pieces of wood with line wrapped around it. So it's everywhere.
Yeah, there's certain places we fish. It's the same thing. If you're fishing anywhere where like a bayou comes into the river, promise you're going to have God knows how many old trot lines running there, stuff sitting on the bottom. And some of the big points that I fish have a lot of old cables and rigging just in the water and down the ledge because where the barges would beach themselves and tie up. So I've drug up many old pieces of cable with my rods, just old rigging that's been down there for who knows how many years.
Yeah.
We got somebody there giving you thanks for the shout out. I can't see it from here.
It's probably cat mama. I was at B-Dubs on my way back here. We were all eating. So every Tuesday night, we go to BW3s, and a bunch of fishermen show up, and anybody that wants to join us, we just go down and we chit chat. And naturally today it was all about my fish that I was catching. Everybody's threatening to put a GPS tracker on my boat and everything else, and where are you going to? And so, and I told Richard and them, they said, well, where were you at? I said, I was right there in the middle. Y'all just drove right by me. You didn't even see me sitting out there, did you? And he goes, no. I said, yeah, I watched you go by. Chris watched you guys go by. I said, I was sitting right there. I said, I just kind of blend in. But and I got frozen skipjack. I was using mainly frozen skipjack. I had some fresh, but the one thing about, a lot of people won't use frozen skipjack. The one thing I like about the frozen skipjack is it takes a little bit longer to thaw out, so it leaches out more smell into the river.
It's time released.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you, Doc. If I put it up my way, then I don't mind using it. I tend not to trust frozen coming from somewhere else because I don't know what they did with that. Especially around in my area, there's no business, there's no money in selling slicker for bait. Nobody does that around here. They get thrown in the piles with the shad for crawfish bait, just like anything.
Oh,
else. Really? Oh yeah. So if I have to go get some, they're not taken care of. They were sitting in the bottom of a boat all day, thrown in the big walk-in freezer. They're not. If I have to, I'll resort to it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'd rather
the one thing I do different than a lot of people don't do is I don't use the gut section. I cut the gut section out of a skipjack. Mainly, if you take a look at it, there's fermented minnows and everything else in their stomach. So, I just cut that out, and then, we call them spongebobs. They're just square cubes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, but that spine is right there. And if anybody's ever seen it, you can see the blood that's in that spine.
Oh, yeah.
It'll take 52-degree water right now. It's going to take a while for that to leach out. And then my favorite piece is the tail piece. The piece that everybody throws away is my favorite. And I always tell everybody the tail will prevail.
You know how many times I've used the tail just because you say that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was with Terry George and Bink Fox, and they one year, and we were down on the Ohio, and they were just tearing me. I wasn't catching anything. And I said, all right, fellas, I about had it with this. I said, I'm going to show you a cut that I believe in fully. And I said, I call it the tail will prevail. 3 minutes later, the rod went down, and there was a 50-pound blue on the end of it, man. And that made them believers right then and there. But that was a funny story.
Oh yeah,
Doc, tell about your 2 Tennessee hats. Oh yeah.
He said it twice now, so I'm thinking this has got to be good.
Well, Bill Dance, me and Bill Dance get along real well, and we've known each other a long time. Lynn and I went down and we visited with him, and so we went to his studio and everything, and we got our pictures taken in his studio. I've got the picture of the 2 of us on the wall, and Bill signed our hats and everything, and so that was a pretty good thing. Lynn would ask him all kinds of different questions, and he really enjoyed Lynn's company, so he took her all over everywhere. I just followed along. I went to the studio and just followed. It was a blast. I mean, Lyle and Cindy were there, and so was Vicky Mathena. A bunch of us were there, and it was a lot of fun. And Bill's always been an idol of mine for my whole life. It was either I watched Bill dance a lot, even though he was a bass fisherman. Now he's kind of gone to the dark side where cat fishermen all hang out. So
yeah,
but yeah, that was pretty cool. And I still got the hats. They sit in the closet. One says it says Doc, let's go fishing. The other says Lynn, let's go fishing. Love you, Bill Dance on there. So and I always keep that close to me.
Skip is wanting to get down to the nitty gritty. He said, "Tell me something good." Back to here on the Ohio River, targeting flatheads this spring. Water, tip, wood, rock.
Oh yeah, well, and that's kind of odd because I fished Ohio for probably close to 35 years, and down there, we would target wood. You would always bring a flathead off of wood.
Right.
Here on the Tennessee River, it's a little bit different, especially on Wilson Lake. Mm-hmm. You target wood, you're going to catch a blue. You target a rock or a boulder that's on the bottom, you're going to catch a flathead. It's just a total different shift. I'm not used to it. I still haven't gotten used to doing that. I'll mark a fish and I think I'm going to pull a flathead up, and here it ends up being a blue. Or, I'll mark a fish and that's got to be a blue. Now, my oldest daughter was down here 2 years ago when I first moved down here. She came down on the 4th of July. She wanted to go out and fish, and we came up on a rock. It was so hot, and it was during the COVID, and everybody was out, and we're out there. We're in this 18.5-foot center console, and it's just getting rocked. And she goes, Dad, is it always like this? I said, no, it's just a lot of people are out here on the water. And I marked a fish right sitting behind a boulder. I said, there's a blue right there. Nope. It ended up being a 36-pound flathead. Wow. And, she had never caught a flathead. So that was a big plus. And, and I told her, I said, listen, when he gets close to the boat, he sees that boat, I said, he's going to head to the bottom. Don't try to hold him. Just let him go.
Yep.
So, okay. Oh, okay. Alicia. Yeah. So I know a lot of these people. I don't know I know their names, and that's the bad part about getting old. I know a lot of people, but I don't, when they come up and say, "Hey Doc, how you doing?" Okay, who is this person? So
Well,
you need, and what I do now is I say, I'm sorry, but who are you?
well, you're a superstar, man. You're
No,
known worldwide.
I wish people would quit that. They put me there as a legend. I love to fish. I've always loved to fish. I've tried to share information my whole life. I for 21 years I had Hooked on Catfish on the World Wide Web. And then after Lynn passed away, she was a big part of that. Mm-hmm. And, I just said, well, it's time to let it go. So, and I let it go. The same as, my 240, she bought my, the boat, my CR 240 for my retirement. But then after she passed away, I just couldn't get under the wheel. Too many memories right there. Mm-hmm. And, it was just tough. I moved down here 2 years ago. I fish almost every day. As long as the weather is permitting, I am on the water, in one way or another. Either I'm fishing or I'm out there just riding around marking stuff. I have got, on my live unit, I've got 5,800 spots that are marked, and that is Wilson, Pickwick, Gunnersville, and Wheeler. So I got a lot of structure marked. I got more stop signs and trees and everything else.
Wow.
Well, we'll talk about this first, but I got a good question.
Go ahead.
Hey Doc, what does it mean? Chris says there's a hump or concave in the center of the river. Does current shape the river? Absolutely.
Does current shape the river? Yes, current shapes the river. It's always changing too. Mm-hmm. Where there was a hump or where there's a concave, either it gets filled up with mud or it gets scooped out, or a tree, comes down the river and it ends up in there, or somebody drops trees down in there that have weights on them. That kind of, I don't do that. I used to do that. I did that a lot in Ohio, but I don't do it down here. But I do know people that do it.
I know people that done it for crappie, but not for catfish.
Yeah, we did it on CJ Brown. We really put we made a lot of people mad. But boy, it made some nice structure.
I bet.
Catfish.
Absolutely.
You could sell those waypoints for a lot of dough. Yeah. When I pass away, my son is probably going to grab my depth finder and say, "This is now mine."
Yeah.
Or somebody is.
So I got a question. So I know you fished tournaments some up here in Ohio.
Yes.
But now that you're fishing a lot of tournaments, down there, and you're right there on the water, and you have the opportunity. Do you feel like you fish any differently now, being in, so competitive in the tournament series as opposed to, fun fishing or fishing tournaments periodically up here?
Yeah, a little bit of different. I have more fun now. Tournament fishing can be real serious. I'm as serious, and I'm very competitive, but now it's okay. If I do well, okay. If I don't do well, I'm going to learn. I've learned something, and I fish with Rob Benningfield a lot, and that guy he is a fishing machine. He's on the water a lot, but he understands that kind of stuff. And, I fish with him. And then a couple of weeks ago, I fished against him, and he took me to school. So I'd never been on that part of the river, but he had, and he won that tournament like 3 years in a row. This was the third year in a row that he won that tournament. But it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. You can always learn. Keep an open mind and listen. The guys that you constantly see at the top, those guys are doing something that's just a little bit different than what anybody else is doing. Like last year, I only won one big tournament. That was the very last tournament that Bama Blues had. Me and Chris we had 5 second place finishes during the year. And then finally, Chris and I talked about it, and we kept saying we're always getting beat by half a pound or something. And the week of pre-fishing, we had caught like 4 70-pounders on the week of pre-fishing, and we had told the tournament directors, if we can catch the fish that we have been catching, we'll win that tournament. And that's exactly what we did. We had a 73. Chris backed it up with a 50, and then I caught a 20-pound under. And at 11 o'clock, we had trailered. At 11 o'clock, we put the boat on the trailer and came back to First Creek where the tournament was out of, and then went out on the water and sat for 4 hours, the longest 4 hours I've ever sat to wait on a tournament. But we ended up in first place by just ounces, hundreds of an ounce ahead of the second place team. So I
remember the details of that story and the rest of the story.
What's Doc's preference, rivers or lakes? I love rivers. Tennessee River, it runs right through the middle of a lake. You got Wilson, you got Wheeler, but if I got Current, my favorite area up on, Wheeler Lake is so big, but my favorite area, they've called me around here, they call me one of the island boys because there's islands up on the river section, and I love fishing those islands. They're up there. There's a lot of wood, a lot of structure, and a lot of big fish. We catch some really big fish up in that area.
I never thought Doc Lange would be an island boy.
Yeah, they call me an island boy.
Don't you do it, Roger.
Don't.
I go to Ditto Landing a lot and launch out of there. And there's a big island right in the middle of the river. And so they've started telling me that I'm an island boy now.
Oh, wow.
Hey, what's up, Haz? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, it was just something, I haven't really fished that many tournaments. I truly enjoy like the benefit tournaments and things like that.
Yeah, I like doing that. Like I'm going to come home in April. I'm going to fish Minx Cancer Tournament. Larry and I are going to fish together in that. So I talked to Larry the other night. Well, I talked to him almost every night or every other night. Today he called. I think he called me 3 times today because he knew I was on fish. He was working, and so was I. I was working. I was doing my job. That's what I do here in Tennessee. Here in Alabama is catch fish. So, I like to rub it in on him, but he's good. He said, "Dad, you're down there killing me."
Yeah, we do the same thing to each other up here. Zach and Skip, any of us are out fishing, we're sending the other guys pictures and whoever's at work is like, dang it.
Yeah. The biggest thing is I have no idea how long God's going to keep me on this earth. So I'm having fun. I am enjoying my life. I retired 2 years ago, and this is I love doing what I'm doing. I meet a lot of people, and I probably got haters out there. I got it. Anytime you get to do what I'm doing, you're going to have a hater.
Oh yeah.
But I try to keep my enemies closer than my best friends. So
hey, that's not bad advice.
Wait a minute.
Careful, Roger.
So yeah, fishing with I know that April 16th date, man, that's going to be.
Yeah,
I've got another tournament. I'm supposed to fish Patriot James's tournament in South Carolina that same weekend. I've missed it for the last 2 years, and I want to go to that thing so bad. And this tournament here is like, man, got so much going. And there's another tournament that exact same weekend here in Ohio too. I think it was up on Sandusky. That's supposed to be awesome. And it's a veterans event, so I've just got a soft spot for veterans. But Has Life says, put your hater blockers on.
Hater blockers. I don't worry about it. As everybody knows, if they followed me over the years, I was on Catfish Weekly for 3 years. I give out information. I don't lie to people, stuff like that. I may fib. A lot of people, especially if I'm going to fish a tournament, somebody will say, well, are you fishing deep or shallow? I said, I'm fishing in the water.
There you go.
You can give it away after the tournament, not during.
Yeah, people see me out there. If we fish in Chris's boat, people don't recognize who I am because they're not used to seeing me in a center console sea arc. If they see me in my little boat, it's by no means little. It's 18 foot, but it's not 24 like my old boat was.
So, Tommy wants to know if you remember the Catfish message board. I bet you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a long time ago. 30 years. Yeah.
Thanks, James. I appreciate that. I understand. I like the way you think, but I want to go because there's just so many people I want to see, and then we got this tournament here, and there's going to be so many awesome folks here. And Zach said that soft spot matches the soft spot on my head. So, so what do you got coming up next? I know you said you got a tournament coming up, and you're coming up here in April.
Yeah. Well, I got a tournament. I'm looking at my calendar on the wall here. I got a tournament on March 5th. That's this Saturday. It's on Wilson. And then I got another tournament on Wheeler Lake. That's Lisa's tournament, North Alabama Catfish Trail. And then March and April, those are epic months to be on Gunnersville. So my oldest grandson, Josh, is supposed to be here next week. So more than likely, I'm going to take him on a day on Gunnersville. But if the fishing is really hot like it is right now, we'll probably be staying close to home.
Got you.
I am chomping at the bit to get back down there and get some fishing in, especially the way things have been around here for so long. I'm like, man, let's get some fish.
Yeah, I know this morning when I went to launch the boat, Mike Mitchell had just pulled up. He was taking some clients out, and I saw on Facebook where he went live a couple of times, and I think he ended up with a 61 and a 45. So he was having a pretty good day. His clients were having a pretty good day. So
Zach says that me and him really like Gunnersville. I swear I caught my 78 bumping. That's
yeah.
I'll be a fan of Gunnersville. Now we didn't actually fish a lot downriver from the Nickajack Dam. We pretty much bumped Nickajack pretty hard for 2 or 3 days there.
Yeah. And see, beyond where you guys are at is my favorite area to fish, beyond the Blue Bridge.
Yeah.
That was below you guys. That's where the below that Blue Bridge is where the Alabama-Tennessee line is. And so that's where I like to fish. We launch out of Stevenson and then fish another island. So if Nickajack is dumping a bunch of water, the more current, the better fishing is up there. Stevenson up in that area is big on flatheads, and in that area, a flathead will not takedown, a slow takedown, they go off like a missile. You know, they pick up a bait and just rip it, you know, going down river with it. I was pretty shocked. The other thing that I've done, I used to use sinker slides. I don't use sinker. The fish down here they don't care if you got 3 pounds of weight on it. You know, they're going to pick it up and they are going to rip it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the big thing is, you know, you gotta have a good rod. I got a sponsorship this past year from Meat Hunters. My tournament partner Chris has run Meat Hunters his whole life. He's rebuilt a couple of the really old ones, and Charles Crook offered us a position this past year of sponsorship. So all we're running now is Meat Hunter rods. I mean, I love the rods. You know, I've run Lyle's for years, and Lyle made I still bump with one of Lyle's rods. Yeah. I like the rod, and he built good rods back then. Still builds good rods, but you know, Charles is a very good friend of mine and Chris's, and we really like the rods that he makes. They're good and stout, and you know, they handle the fish. So, and that's my deal. You know, I don't lose very many fish. It does happen, but not. You know, it doesn't happen much since I've gone to the Meat Hunter rods. My favorite is the Meat Hunter Extreme. I'm doing the Boss Hog. I've got a Boss Hog that I use, but the Extremes are my favorite rods that I'm using.
That was going to be my question, because I looked at Meat Hunter's rod, and I've never heard a bad thing about a Meat Hunter rod. I don't think they have the social presence as some of the, you know, top companies got.
Yeah.
But I've never heard a bad thing. But that's one of the things is I when I looked at Meat Hunter rods, there's so many different ones. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know which one.
Yeah.
How to even start, you know, without getting them in your hands. You know, that's a difficult decision to make.
Yeah. Brad, mainly I use Abu Garcias. I've got some Ancient Mariners that I just got. There's 6,000. I'm trying this year to break them. You know, if I keep catching fish like I catch today, which I know, you know, down here, you know, there's a lot of big fish. And, you know, since I moved here, I put 22 fish over 70 pounds in the boat since 2 years ago when I moved here. So,
wow.
It's a lot of fish.
When you said you were looking at the calendar, I've been very fortunate enough to crash at Doc's house for a few days. Me and Zach was down there fishing.
And you've seen my calendar. Yeah. I keep track of all my fish on my phone. Siri, me and Siri have a really nice conversation every day because I keep telling her, take a note. I just caught a 71.3. And so I put my, you know, I just say, you know, what the fish was, how much it weighed, where I caught it, what the conditions were, and then I can come back later. Yeah. And so I'm using my iPhone as a way of keeping notes. So, you know, I don't want to lose that information. How are they compared to the surge rod? The surge rod, those are old rods, and they're the surge rods. For me, a surge rod is like a broomstick. The Extremes have got a fast tip, and they start loading up about halfway down or so.
We got Mr. John Parker joined us as well. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, that's why I mentioned it, that when you go in the Doc's house and you look at that calendar and you start flipping back to and seeing the weights and some of the days or weeks of fish he's had, it's insane.
I don't know. Oh, here it is.
I'm gonna have to go meet y'all over there one of these days, because I looked it up a little while ago. It's 500 miles from my house.
500
miles. It's not that far.
That's not that far.
I can drag that boat 500 miles.
There you go.
This was like last year.
Oh, wow.
And there you go. Like I got a 61-pound flat last year, a 52-pound blue, and you know, Chris had caught a 50-pound flat. That was his new personal best. And I keep track of what days I fish, how many days I fish, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was amazed when I got to check it out. It was nuts.
But keep in mind, he's not a legend, right?
Yeah, right.
Come on now. You can't say something like that and show that calendar. Come on, man. You can't do that.
Yeah.
This is really, you know, and Lynn and I had planned on coming to South, but you know, after she passed away, my daughter actually asked me. She said, "You need to stick to the plan, Dad." And I kind of looked at her. I said, "How did you know about the plan?" And said, "Lynn kind of told us, you know, that you need to stick to the plan." So I ended up, you know, selling everything and just came south. Got a nice house. It's out in the country. It's got
there you go.
My old house didn't have any trees. I got trees all over my place. They lined my driveway. It makes tough to back a boat up my driveway and that kind of stuff.
Zach said I got my name on his calendar once.
Yeah. Cat Mama Industries is where I got Ancient Mariner reels.
Tommy says, never forget Greg Atkins and Scott catching over 400 in a Cabell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was back in, oh, man. Yeah. And what was cool about it is they came in, weighed in, and then they went to the motel room and never showed their face. So nobody knew who they were, where they were at, or where they were fishing. So that was pretty cool.
What his that's one of my buddies from work. Well, we used to work together a long time ago, but he uses musky tackle for shovel heads because he's a true Southern Ohioan. Would that tackle work for blues on the Ohio?
Oh, yeah. Musky tackle? Yeah, it will. The only thing with the musky tackle is most of the time they've got the inlaid eyes. And those have a tendency, especially if you get a hold of a big blue or a big flathead, you know, it'll pop those inlaid eyes out, you know. On mine, you know, most of them are stainless steel, you know, one piece and that kind of stuff. What rigs do you use? Mainly either a single hook or a double hook rig and three-way rig. And a lot of times, you know, when I tell people I use a three-way rig, I don't use a dropper line. You know, I just put the sinker right onto the three-way rig. And sometimes I use corks and that kind of stuff on it to get the bait up. Depends on, you know, what it's, you know, when there's current, even if you use a float, it's going to get pushed to the bottom. The current's going to push it down to the bottom. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's just the way the law of physics, that's how it works. You know, it's going to shove it to the bottom. So when there's a lot of current, I don't use floats. I just use straight lead. It's hooked to a three-way. And then I use a 24-inch leader, 100-pound leader line, because most of the time it's sitting in a snag or it's on rocks or something. It takes a lot of abuse. I mainly fish with mono, but I'm kind of switching over to, Lyle's going to love to hear this. I'm switching over to braid.
What?
So one of the guys gave me some of this J braid. He wanted me to try, and I really like that stuff. It's marked every 20 feet. It's a different color. And
oh, really?
Yeah, so it's kind of nice if you're dead sticking. And I'm hoping everybody knows what dead sticking, but what it is, you know, you put a rod and you suspend the bait, and the rods are sticking straight out the side of the boat. Well, if you're dead sticking, you know, you go all the way to the bottom and you want to bring it up 10 feet, you just bring it up to the next color and boom, it's there. It's marked a different color every 10 feet. So, you know, I really like, I use a lot of line counter reels, but the J braid just makes it a whole lot easier. So.
Doc's going to the dark side braid.
Yeah. Oh,
What are you talking about, Zach? Zach's a braid guy.
I got braid on my bumping rod. You know, other than that.
Yeah, but I had 3 rods out today. Every one of them had braid on.
You still use the rattles?
Yeah, use the little spinning rattles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people use the Demon Dragons. I use them. I make my own after Zach came down here.
Yeah.
And so I make the ones that he thinks make a lot of noise. You know, some people live by them. I can go either way. You know, sometimes I see some areas, I see them, they're really good. When there's a lot of current, you don't need a lot of noise. You need a lot of scent out in the water. That's what's going to bring the fish.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I use the little spinner rattles, and we got all kinds of different configurations that we use on those things. You know,
you can get pretty carried away with them, can't you?
Oh yeah, you can. You can do all kinds of different stuff with them.
Oh yeah.
So, and that, you know, and with me being on water every day, you know, I'm always trying something. I'm always trying to think outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, when you're a tournament fisherman, you need to get one up on somebody. So, you know, I'm always thinking outside of the box. You know, what can I do that's different? You know, and I'm always kind of listening to people talk and stuff like that. You know, I talk. I give a lot of information out. Lynn always chastises me all the time. She goes, you know, you're going to give the information out, and then somebody's going to beat us. Yeah, I know, but you know, people know I give information out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we already had some requests for tip of the week. I meant to message you. I meant to message you and have you think of something for tonight. I don't know if you got anything off the top of your head.
Oh Lord,
I heard about 25 of them.
Oh yeah,
during the show.
Right. Yeah, while I was talking, there you go.
I know, right?
Yeah. So
I heard a whole bunch of them.
Somebody had the time going through each Catfish Weekly and taking Doc's tip of the week out and making a series of tip of the week. It would be.
I know, right?
Yeah, there was. That went over pretty big on Catfish Weekly.
Absolutely,
everybody kind of enjoyed that. So I missed doing the show. But, you know, I told Lyle, I said, you know, the thing of it is, I don't want to be committed. I want to be committed to fish, but I don't want to be committed to do a show, you know. So, you know, especially if I get out there and I'm busting fish. You know, I'm not much of fishing at night, but I'm fishing with a lot of people. A lot of people are asking me to go at night and stuff like that. And if I'm in somebody else's boat, I'll do it. You know, like Betty and Brandon came down here and we went out. Chad and Dee were right beside us. We went out. It was dark and we're in their boat. And, you know, Betty ended up getting an 80. And I think Brandon ended up getting a 69. And Chad and Dee are sitting right there beside us and seeing all this going on. And, you know, we just went out for a couple hours of fishing. So, you know, I think this year, you know, I've been working on my boat through the winter time here. And, you know, I know that I've gotten acclimated to Alabama weather. So, you know, when it's 50 degrees, it's cold here to me. You know, it's just, that's the one thing.
Roger. You know, I hope you were listening.
So today it was almost 70 today, and man, it feels good. I'm hoping winter is about done because I like it when it gets hot. When it gets hot and I can wear my shorts and stuff like that, you know, and I can sit out there on a boat and just kick back and enjoy life.
There you go.
And wait for the big fish to come along, you know. But, you know, and I tell a lot of people, you know, I'm very aggressive. You know, I sit on a spot about 15, 20 minutes If I don't get a bite, you know, I pull off and go to another spot. That's the one nice part about a lot of times I'll just leave the poles at home and I'll go out, launch the boat and go down and I just try finding structure, you know, and I just start hitting it on my depth finder. And then the next time I take my poles out, you know, I just go out and, you know, it's amazing what you find. I mean, if you have the time, you know, everybody's always said anybody that's really good at fishing spends a lot of time on the water. Well, I spend almost every day on the water. So, you know, and I love what I'm doing. You know, this is, my kids know it. You know, I miss my kids. I miss my grandkids. But boy, I love being on the water. This is my thing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Doc, we hit an hour right there.
Right.
It went a little over an hour.
It went fast.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh, yeah, it did.
I didn't mean to ramble on and stuff like that, but a lot of times when I get started talking, boy, I just go with it.
Oh,
we didn't
man.
stop you, did we?
No.
Let it roll.
That's one of the things we really enjoy about this show in particular is it's just like hanging out with your buddies and just talking, shooting the breeze and sharing information. And you know, we've got that compliment a few times from viewers, and that's the one that makes me feel like we've done something.
And you and I had talked earlier in the week, you know, and I told you, I said, I got a feeling that, you know, I'm going to bust a pig this week. Just to,
you said yesterday. You told me yesterday.
Right. Yeah, yesterday, because they had 42 gates open on Wheeler Dam. So the spill gates are open. They got 11 hydros running full tilt. It was running earlier last week. It was running a little over 200,000 square feet per second was coming off that dam. And today it was running 176. So, and that's, I mean, it's about, today it was about 2 mile an hour current. I was down river about 2 miles, 2.5 miles. And my Rodan trolling motor was running about half speed, holding me in place.
Wow.
You know, so I move around. I just keep moving around and moving around until I find them fish. You know.
Have you switched over to lithium batteries, or you still run?
No, I still got the lithiums is a little bit steep for a retired guy that doesn't work anymore.
There's
so
for anybody.
So
they're retired for the working people too, Doc. They're for us too.
I mean, most of the guys around here that have got the big boats, they've got them. I've still got the 31 lead cells. Mine are under my center console on my boat. So actually, you know, they kind of make things even out. And let's see, I got them about 2 years ago. I may get another 2 years out of them. I don't know. I use them pretty heavy in this heavy current. I don't mind throwing the steel, but it's hard on a 69-year-old man to try to pull an anchor rope and all that when all you got to do is drop a trolling motor. I really wish Rodan would come out with the self-deploy like Minn Kota has. Boy, that's sweet. You know,
you probably wouldn't have any issue. Around here, the Alteras really don't seem to like the cold. We tore skips up a couple times in the cold weather, but I think they've upgraded most of that stuff because when we had the warranty work done on it, they upgraded everything, changed, beefed everything up.
Yeah.
But down there, probably would have no issues at all.
Yeah. I just, I had the incident happen at, I always wear a life jacket. Anytime anybody sees me, I've always got a life jacket on. I've hit the water a few times in my life. So I'm just, I wear them. So that's my big thing, safety. We see the water patrol. I've seen the water patrol a lot this year. And what's kind of odd here in Alabama, the Water Patrol are Alabama State Troopers. So, and they've got right on the side of the boat, Alabama State Trooper. So that's who enforces the water rules and regulations here in Alabama. So they always come up on me. I mean, I said, I got checked yesterday, and I told the guy, I said, you know who I am? He goes, I know, but he said, I didn't have anything else to do. I just thought I'd come along and check you. So, it's like, well, are things going to change from one day to another? So
did they ever give you any feedback on your one life jacket that didn't deploy properly?
No.
No,
Never got anything back.
Did you switch name brands?
No, I still use it. Okay. I rearmed it and still use it. It's very comfortable. And I'm okay with it. As long as I can keep swimming, I'm okay. I cheated death this last time. So, but when you're looking at a shore and it's 100 yards away and you're getting pulverized with 3 and 4 foot waves, you just kind of wonder, oh boy, I don't know if my number's up this time or not, but evidently God had better things for me to do. But I'm on the show, so
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm quite thrilled about that. God has done a lot of stuff for me, and I can't thank him enough. I get to do what I really enjoy doing, and that's being on the water. I get to share a lot of stuff with people and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're living my dream right now.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure several others.
Yeah. So.
Does anybody else got any questions real quick for Doc? I don't want to hold you. I want to respect your time tonight and not keep you.
You ain't going to respect me, man. Are you talking about me or everybody else in the show?
No, everybody else, they'll leave when they want to. We could talk as long as we want.
I don't have anything else to do. I can sit here and keep talking. It's no big deal.
That's what I'm talking about.
I just perked back up. I'm like,
I know, right? Got all excited now.
Yeah. So this time of year, I know you're saying the bait's been extremely difficult.
Yeah, real difficult.
Is that, do you think, in tune with the fluctuation of the current going up and down, and crazy as it is, or?
I think that's had a lot to do with it. We've had a lot of rain. Last week we got 7.5 inches of rain. That's the reason that everything got blowed out. Right now, everything is at summer pool. So right now we're 5 feet over what normal winter pool is here.
Right.
Okay.
So they would wait until April 1st. The normal pool here is 550 feet. And right now it's 555 right now. It might be higher than that. I didn't look at it today. My main concern is seeing how much current is coming off that dam, because I know current is going to make the big fish eat. It's just, we've got that wood pile that's below the dam about 1/4 of a mile, as you well know. A lot of people just drive right over top of them, don't even know it's there.
It's a everywhere.
They head downriver into the deep water. Most of my fishing here on Wilson Lake is done within 3 miles of the dam.
No kidding. There's a lot of good fish up there, and like you said, especially early season, like we're coming into now. We love shallow water.
Yeah,
there's like no shallow water on the Ohio River right now. It's completely blown out. But
no, well, and the other thing, and then Zach just asked the question. A lot of times when the water is dropping fast, I don't like to see a dropping fast. But the one thing I've learned here on Tennessee River is if the water is dropping fast and quick, I'll go to the center of the river. It'll probably be about the deepest part, but I've seen a lot of the fish just stack up in the center of the river. I remember hearing somebody say that when the water starts pulling off of the banks, that the fish go to the center of the river. So,
well, it makes sense. I mean, being a natural defense, you know, if the water's going down, they want to get to the deepest spot to make sure that they're safe.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of times going deep here on the Wilson Lake is 90 to 100, 100 foot.
Yeah,
That's deep.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of the areas is 50 feet. But if it's got a channel in it, then that ends up being deep, and the fish can stack up in that area.
right.
You know, we marked a lot of fish today that were in non-current areas, but you know, I couldn't get them to bite, so I just pulled off, and sure enough, they were, you know, either they were on the tree. Well, I did nothing but target trees today. Standing trees. I found a couple of trees that were laying down that I stumbled on, and ended up, you know, I pulled some fish off of those. So,
yeah,
you know, and those, I mean, I like the standing trees, but if I can get a tree that's laying down on its side, that's the one that's a magnet to hold a pig. You know, most of the time, if that's the type of tree, I've got a tree that lays below the dam. It's about 40 foot long, and it lays parallel with the water. And it gets, in the springtime, it gets packed up.
Yep, it's a big current break. Just
and
outside. Yep,
and you won't believe who showed me that tree. It was a bass fisherman, a very famous bass fisherman, and name of Mike Iaconelli.
Ooh,
and I rolled up on him, and one morning, you know, and he was there, and I said, I don't mean to bother you. I know, you know, I know people probably bother you, but I said, what are you looking for? And he goes, oh, there's a big tree right here. And I said, oh, really? And yeah. And so then last year, Chris and I were sitting there fishing this log, the tree that Mike had showed me. And then Mike came around us. We didn't even know he was there. It was all foggy and everything. And then I stood up and I saw him, and he goes, oh, sorry, Doc. He said, I didn't mean to get in here. I said, no, Mike, that's okay. That's cool. You know, and Chris goes, who was that? I said, that was Mike Iaconelli. The Mike Iaconelli. Yeah. I said, he showed me this tree right here. So, and, you know, I pulled several 50s off that tree, but it's a perfect spot right there.
Now, Doc, below the dams that y'all fish, does it have kind of typical, like on the big rivers, on the big dams, you'll get these big humps up and down in the dams as you go down. The dam y'all have in y'all area, does it have those same up and down humps? Just a little more flat.
We don't see it so much below Wheeler because the water's shallow. You know, the water around the Wheeler Dam is like 14, 15 foot deep. It's got some big scoured out holes that are there, but in the fast moving water, it's all about 12, 14 foot deep. Okay. And so, but you do see a little bit of this, you know, it's only in like 2 foot increments.
Okay.
And, you know, that's one of our areas to back bounce. And, you know, you're walking them baits up and then dropping them back down, and then fish are down in those little grooves. If they're not, you know, they're trying to stay out of the current, you know, so they don't have to work. The other thing is the bait piles up in those areas. That's another thing that I discovered when I was down here is watching for skipjack. I use my side scan to find the skipjack on the river. And what they look like is pencil marks. You just see a bunch of long, streaky white pencil marks. And those are skipjacks. They move so fast through the water. They don't cast a shadow or anything, but they leave little white marks that look like somebody's been taking a pencil and just drawing. You know, and there's like hundreds of them. And, you know, and what I'll do is, you know, I go up above, I start looking, then the old river rat kicks in, and I start looking for that seam that you see. A lot of people, you know, if you
Right.
see a seam, one seam is good. 2 seams is better. A triple seam, you're going to hit the money on skipjack. You find a triple seam, you will wear skipjacks out.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I
So
got to go Friday and go get me some slicker. I will have that in my brain when I go. I promise you.
yeah, I really watched the, you know, I watched the bubbles that are going down through there. I'm looking for those slick spots that you see, and that's how I, you know, yesterday the skipjacking it wasn't the greatest, but you know, I spent 5 hours out there. I caught 5, but you know, I found that triple seam, and you know, all of a sudden it was like boom, boom, boom. I sat there for several hours and never moved. And a lot of people will say, you know, why do you stay out there so long? I said, because I'm having fun. You know, I'm here, I'm trying to learn something. So, you know, I'll move around. Most of the time when I drop an anchor and I drop a rope, when I'm fishing for skipjacks, I turn my electronics off. They don't like to get pinged. They hate getting pinged. And they don't like the trolling motor, the hum that's coming off of the trolling motor. I've watched them just scatter when they hear that hum of that trolling motor. Yeah, I mean, when they're really packed in there, then it doesn't make any difference. Yeah. But if they're far and few between, you know, we just drop the rope and, you know, catch. Everybody calls it lazy rigging. I don't call it lazy rigging. I call it power fishing out behind the boat. You know, you got a bobber, and then you got your jigs. I tie my own jigs. I tie all my own rigs, and you know, I just sit out there and just watch how they hit. It's amazing watching these fish. You're just sitting over there and look down and watch how they feed and what they do. Skipjacks are kind of, you know, before I always thought they eat everything. Well, they don't. They headbutt those minnows. You know, those minnows get it, and they tail slap them. I've watched them headbutt them, and then they tail slap them out of the water. And you know, they like to play with their food. So you know, I try to put jigs out there that they can play with, and I end their fun as quickly as I can. So.
Yeah, I've caught a lot of them with the hook right through the top of their head. Not.
Yeah. You know, I only caught 5, but I hooked up a little over a dozen and a half fish. The ones that I lost were all hooked in the head, and when I went to lift them, they come out.
No.
So
they get fun to watch around here because at certain times of the year when these really big alligator gar come up to the dam, and I'm talking 5, 6, 7 footers, when they're feeding in those slicker, when they go in a pile and hit them, you literally see them jumping out the water trying to get away from them. It's fun to watch at that time of year.
Yeah. Do I see skipjacks in really deep water? Yes. If the bait's there, the skipjacks are going to be there. John Knowles taught me a little trick, you know, how to, you know, do just actually down rigging for those skipjacks. And we just, you know, put heavy weights on, drop the jigs down in 50, 60 foot of water, and just start dragging the jigs through the skipjack. You know, I've always got a skipjack on the rod, on the boat, a skipjack rod on the boat at all times. I quit leaving it at home. So now I make sure, because every time that I don't have it on, I run into them. You know, we see them up and down the river all the time. You know, they're not always at the dam like everybody thinks they are. You know, they're all up and down the river.
Right.
You know, it's just a matter of trying to find them, you know, like they're up in the creeks. They go up in the creeks. They're going to go wherever the bait goes.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got the emeralds here. We got the emerald shiners. We have shad. We got gizzard shad. We've got thread fins. And boy, when, you know, and we got pelicans. And those guys are a different story in themselves. Oh, them things drive me crazy, but I don't hesitate driving up into a group of them. If I see them dunking, if I see their butts up in the air and their heads down, you're getting the fish that I want, and I will not hesitate in running my boat right up in there and just start throwing them. You know, make them scatter and go after the skipjack, because those guys, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. You know, I've watched them. They get in a big U shape and they open it up, and then when then they start flapping their wings on the water, and that drives us it piles the bait up, and it drives the skipjacks into a frenzy. And so the skipjacks start smoking all the minnows, and then all the pelicans do is they just close the gap, and they just close that U, and then everybody just dunk, and they just come up with mouthfuls of skipjack, and you know, that's all full, and they're sitting there. And what's bad, they must have the world's most strongest stomach gastric juices, because 20 minutes later they're puking all over the river, and all you see is skeletons, and and they spit her out. But then again, that's free chum, and so if I start seeing that, then I start fishing those areas. I'll start dragging baits through that area, especially if I see a lot of those pelicans. And we see a lot of, we got a lot of pelicans down here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sitting up there at the power lines, you know, that's where Zach and I really like to catch a lot of our skipjack, is right behind that. I think it's the second power pole. And those birds are insane.
Oh yeah.
Insane.
And you don't realize how big a pelican is until you ride up on one either.
Oh Lord, they got 10-foot wingspan. The black ships that we have here are just, they're huge.
Now y'all have all the white pelicans, right?
White pelicans, yeah.
Every now and then they're rare, but we have the brown pelicans down here too.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the brown pelicans.
They are
they're a dirty bird. They look like a dirty bird when you see how bright the white ones are.
Don't go close to them if they're feeding. They are mean. They ain't gonna just fly away like the white ones.
Okay, I'll remember that. Thank you.
Don't go near them. They're like an old goose.
Yep, they get a little testy. Zach and I, when we go down there, you called it the power rig or power fishing, running the float out the back. We each would put a float out the back. One would go farther than the other, so they didn't get in each other. And then we would throw we'd be throwing spoons or jigs or whatever, usually spoons. And then we just work spoons and catch fish on the rod. And then every now and then that other rod just go down and you grab that rod and
and then, and a lot of people, I go out, I just get enough bait that I know I can fish with. I need on it. If I'm going to fish for a day, I try to get 20 skipjacks. I need more skipjacks. The hotter the water gets, I need more skipjacks. Yeah. But they have 100 limit per person, per angler down here, and I think that's going to be a good thing. But it kind of really hurt, especially the guys that deal with bait. Their hands are kind of tied. So they finally got all the loose ends tied up on those rules and regulations, because I know last time they was still kind of tippy-toeing around some issues. Yeah, but it just we haven't. It'll be interesting to see how the Sea Arc tournament comes out here in April, because usually that's when the skipjack make the run to the dam, and you see a lot. Those guys are sitting here for weeks trying to catch skipjacks. Well, now you're limited. And they're always checking us locals all the time. I tell the game warden, I say, I'm not going to have 100, because there's no way I can use 100. So I only take what I can fish with, And I said, while you're checking me, the out of state guys are out there just cleaning clock, and then they go to a different ramp and load up, and then they can get out. But rules are rules, and they're unfortunately they're made to be broken, and people just they'll do that kind of stuff. But and I know years ago I'd make that trek down to either Cumberland City or down to Kentucky Lake, and try to load up with as many skipjacks as I could to put in the freezer.
Right.
It's kind of nice when, you know, like tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment in the morning, and then I'm going to go skipjacking in the afternoon. So I'll put the boat in, just go out there and sit in the nice warm sunshine and work on my tan and try to catch some skipjacks.
Yeah, poor fella.
I know, right? Got it rough.
Yeah. So
Let's see.
Yeah, that's my goal Friday. I found out I had the day off. Going to take a couple of guys in the river. Going to see if I can't find me some slicker for my little challenge.
slicker. Boy, it's been years since I've always known as skipjacks as slickers too. A lot of people don't realize that.
Really?
Yeah, you know, skipjacks, jacks, but I've known most of my life as slickers. So
really, now, you're the first person I've ever talked to that understood what I was talking about.
Oh yeah, as soon as you said slicker, I knew what you were talking about.
He had to explain it to the whole YouTube community.
Oh, yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Nobody had a clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So the one thing that really surprises me here is there's no moon eye. I've not been able to find a moon eye here.
Oh, really?
Moon eye that's an awesome bait. But if I go to Memphis on the Mississippi River, I can get all the moon eye I want. But I don't know why they're not here.
We tried to catch some moon eye when we were in Memphis. Zach and I did fishing below Mud Island, and we didn't have any luck. Of course, I think we were throw netting for them up against the barges or right at the tail end.
Yeah, and that's where I've always gotten them down there. You know, you go behind a barge where you got the dead water right there, and a lot of times they'll be sitting right there in that stuff or a little bit of current. But I've tried it here and just haven't been lucky yet.
Look, see, they picking on me.
Reindeer, yeah.
Well, because they know me by now. They know me that I've got a different name for everything. The only thing I call my actually name is a blue cat. That's it. Everything else has a different name, and I've been for the past 2 years trying to train these people. You know, but it ain't working. It don't take. What can I say? It don't take.
Yellow cat. Yeah, we still have that when we call them shovel head, and then somebody corrects you with a flat head, and then you get
yellow cat.
Yeah. There's me.
Yeah,
but we don't. We don't see them that dark brown color like y'all catch them. I've never seen one like that. They all down here. The water's so dirty. They stay that kind of that yellowish mustard color. That's just what color they are.
I've seen a few of those here. The ones that we see here are the brindle colored. They're real beautiful. I mean, they are gorgeous. I caught a 58-pound flathead up on Gunnersville that was brindle color. It was the prettiest fish I'd ever seen.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I made a post yesterday actually about flat. To me, flatheads. Man, they got some of the most unique markings and colorings. I think they're the coolest looking fish. And it's, I love seeing all the different colors and patterns and whatnot. I think it's super awesome.
Yeah. The blues the blue that I caught, the 71 pounder I caught today, I don't know if anybody noticed how black that fish was. It was dark. He'd been I was in shallow water when I caught him. But, as soon as I seen the dark, I said, "Ooh, that fish has been in shallow for a while now." Yeah,
I'm going to try to share screen again. If it blows up crazy, I'll take it off. We'll see if it works this time. Hey, it worked.
There we go.
So there, yeah,
he was dark. They
dark fish.
I love that.
Yeah,
look at the smile on that guy's face.
Well, I don't know if I was smiling or if I was grimacing from trying to hold that fish. But I think a little bit of both.
That's not a bad problem to have. You realize that?
No.
Nope. What kind of boat you have, Doc?
It's a humpback.
I got an 18.5-foot center console. Oh Lord, I can't think of the name of it. It's not a.
Oh man,
Yeah, because your boat looks just like mine. That's why I was asking. It look in the pictures, it looks just like it.
Alumacraft.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it was the float pods or the step on the float pods or something that we thought was really unique on your boat.
Yeah.
When Zach and I were down, and then we noticed, well, that's a lot of them are like that, ain't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pods are pretty prevalent on every boat around here. It just makes it. My boat does. If it gets 2 and 3 foot waves out of there, I'm off the water. I get out of there with my boat.
Right.
It'll just take a beating. It'll handle it, but I don't. I'm in that center console, and it'll pound my back and everything else like that. And I just, I get behind, get off of them waves.
Yeah.
So, and anytime you down here on Wilson, anytime you see a ton of current and the wind coming out of the west, it is going to get bad.
Yep.
I won't even think about going out there. I'll go up on Wheeler and stay in either first or second creek because I know I'm protected there. So that's kind of nice. The other option is I can drive to Decatur, which is 45 minutes away, and get in the river section of Wheeler Lake.
Yeah, that's what's awesome down there is, depending on the wind condition or whatever the flow is, you're hop, skip, and a jump to completely different, conditions. If,
Yeah.
That's awesome. Down here, well,
Oh, yeah.
It's you take what you can get and make the best out of it,
Yeah, I'm hoping in April when I come back to Ohio that I'm hoping it's going to be nice. April can be pretty volatile in Ohio, whereas down here, January and February in Alabama where it just happens to be where I'm at right here. This is like Tornado Alley,
Really?
Not more than 15 minutes from me is Joe Wheeler State Park. And 2 years ago, it got totally wiped out. And it's taken them 2 years to rebuild it. Wow. Where the tornado that had hit Nashville had hit up here. And it bounced off of after it destroyed Joe Wheeler, it went across the river and then landed down near Nashville and tore Nashville all to pieces. Casey Frey, yeah.
Yeah. He said flatheads. I know it was probably hard for him. Yeah, and Pickwick is totally different. Zach and I really clicked on Pickwick just because it's a lot like the Ohio River.
Yes. And it's one of my favorite areas to go, especially if you got a south wind, you got all them bluff areas down there.
Yeah.
And it's a real good back bouncing area. You can back bounce all the way you can start at the dam and back bounce all the way beyond McFarland Park, which is about a 7, maybe 8 mile river run.
Yeah.
You got to go through 3 or 4 bridges, but it's all good fishing,
McFarland, that's where we put in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people fishing those bridges and the railroad bridges and stuff down through there.
Yeah. But again, current dictates how the fish are going to bite and when and if the fish are going to bite. I mainly target big fish, but I'm happy. The only time I don't want to catch a little fish is during a tournament.
Yeah.
But I want the biggest, shortest fish that I can put in the live well. On my underfish here in Alabama, we're allowed 2 overs and 1 under.
Yeah.
So that 34-inch. Most of the time, one of the guys caught a 28-pound fish that was like 33 inches long. So,
really?
Those are short fish.
Yeah, short fish, and
Jesus.
that's a money fish there. When that's gold
Yeah.
when you catch a fish like that.
You better
What
believe
speed do you try to maintain when you back bounce, Doc? Whatever I free drift first. When I go up, I free drift and see how fast that current is running. And if it's running 2 or 3 miles an hour, I go half. I try to get the boat to go half of whatever the free flowing current is. I generally like to use about 1 to 2 ounces of weight. I try to use the least amount of weight as I can. And I like to use the cannonballs because they have a tendency of not getting hung up, and they'll have a tendency of rolling over top of stuff. So
1 to 2 ounces. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I think I usually run 2 or 3.
A lot of people, and it just depends on the feel of the rod and stuff like that.
Right.
That's a big, if you get a rod that has got a good feel to it and you can feel that bottom, you can run the lighter weight. And the biggest thing when you're back bouncing is you want that natural appearance. It just looks like the bait's just floating in the water. And I always told Lyle, I said, I can, with this rod, I can feel when that fish opens his mouth to inhale the bait. Probably can't, but that's the feeling I always got when I used the rod.
Yeah.
The one rod that I back bounced with, he built as a prototype probably 5 or 6 years ago. He handed it to me on the Mississippi. I told him, "You're never getting this rod back." And I still have that same rod. I still back bounce with that same rod. So
I know speed is always a question because when Zach and I made it to the Mississippi, fishing there below Mud Island, we were like running 10 ounces. We're like, we can't get to bottom. It's so fast. We don't know.
Yeah. And a lot of times, I'm trying on the Mississippi, you got to look for like 2.5 mile an hour current.
Right.
It's there. You just got to find it.
Right.
So you're just trying inside, outside bends, a little bit of slack water. I don't use a float when somebody asked, do I use a float when I'm back bouncing? No, but sometimes I'll use a pretty long leader. Sometimes I'll use 3 to 4 foot long. And then my preference is about a 1 foot, maybe 1.5 foot drop line. That's where the weight is attached to. It just depends, sometimes if whoever I'm fishing with has got like a 2 or a 3 foot drop line and he's smacking fish, then I'm going to switch over,
right.
Or he's going to do vice versa. But my preference is about 18, 24 inch on that drop line.
But except for high current, why don't you like to use a float for back?
The float whips the bait all over everywhere. So I just want that bait to be flowing as free as possible. I like to use, when I'm fishing high current areas, back bouncing, I like to use fillets because they're natural. They're sitting there waving. The thing with the fillets is that you have to have a chain, a bead in the middle, or it's going to just sit there and spin like crazy, and you don't want that. That doesn't look natural. You want that thing to just sit there and kind of go up and down like that. And a lot of people say, well, how do you know it's doing that? Well, you can feel it through the rod. If it's sitting there spinning, you'll feel that rod just sitting there thumping away. But if it's sitting there floating, you'll feel that bait just sitting there floating away on the thing.
You can, you could just set it down in the water next to the boat and
watch what it does.
Yeah, and see what it's doing right there, a foot or two under the surface. Now, we know the bottom of the river doesn't always move like the top of the river does. But if it's spinning there, it's spinning down there.
And a lot of times that's where, the spinners that you see, the rattles, those spinners like that, I almost always have those on if I'm back bouncing.
Well, that's why I like I normally do run a demon dragon when I'm back bouncing, because I feel like, bouncing around is making noise and getting their attention and all that stuff. But I never thought about, whether it's really making it have erratic, unnatural presentation.
Well, the other thing, and a lot of people say, well, what if I don't have, well, okay, drop an anchor, drop the steel, put the rope out, and then just walk the bait back.
Yeah.
You can do that. That works. Sometimes that works real well.
Mm-hmm.
And if the fish are not willing to chase after the bait, a lot of times we'll just drop an anchor or, set the trolling motor and then walk the bait back until it stops and just let it sit there. And a lot of times they'll just smoke it.
Yep.
You just don't want to see it going by them. So you let the fish kind of dictate what they want to do. But it's just experience on the water. I'm not one of the best back bouncers. I do really good at it, but there's a lot of guys that are out there. They do it all the time.
Right.
Benningfield, Rob is he's a master at that kind of stuff. I've learned so much when I fish with him, and generally it's always a Mississippi River tournament that I fish with him. I tell him I'm your bad luck charm, because every time I fish with him, we never get into money. I always tease him about it. I say, we're donating our money here today, and I know he feels bad about it, but it doesn't bother me. I just enjoy the time that I have to spend with him. And, we've known I knew him when Lynn and I were fishing tournaments when we first met him. And the bad part about it, when the day I met him, is the same day Lynn caught her 88-pound cat. He had a 60 in the boat, and he hollered at me. He goes, "Doc," he said, "can you beat this?" And he held it up. I said, "Dude, that is a minnow compared to what we have." And we still talk about that.
Oh, wow.
Man.
All the time, but that was 20 some years ago when that happened. So
yeah, bumping is my favorite way to catch a fish. I mean, hands down. Well, we don't get to do it, here a lot. We have opportunities.
Yeah.
And
see, you can do that every day here. That's what's kind of nice about, you've got to, oh, wow. Coach from the old box says hello. I do remember Coach. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I haven't talked to you in years, buddy. But, when they're running the current through the turbines, you always have current. And, I love going up there and just, I'm always with somebody. I don't ever do it by myself because, it's dangerous around the dams. You just got to watch yourself. So I always get excited when you guys come down here. I said, all right, I'm going to go back bouncing today. When somebody comes down here and stays with me, I've got another person to go with me. And I love doing that kind of stuff. So
I guarantee there's no shortage of
furious. Either it's on or it's off.
Yeah.
When it's on, it's major on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When we got down there and learned that we could get that close to the dams, because how it is in Ohio, you just can't get that close to the dam down here.
Oh yeah, you can't go past the nose.
Yeah,
and the bull nose on the dam. Well, here these guys, you're not going to see me do it, but they tie right up. In Guntersville, they drive inside of the discharges of the turbines.
Yeah.
There's a video out there of somebody showing a flathead. That is inside the discharge of a buddy. I am no way. That's like me getting on ice, trying to ice fish. You're not going to see me unless I got a boat under my butt.
I like this guy. I do. I like this guy.
Yeah.
So
I ain't doing it either.
Yeah. We saw people doing that while we were down there, and it was.
I've seen them do it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's
I've flirted with death a few times. No, not me. I watch people do it, push the, reach up, push down on the boat so that the motor would slide up underneath there and get up in there. What happens if they turn it on? The one thing people don't realize, or, maybe people do realize it, but I didn't know it until I got here and I lived. And a lot of my friends that I hang with used to work for the TVA. So I know a lot about the dams, things that I didn't know, how they work, what they do to keep the logs and stuff and all that out. But the one thing I found out after I got here, everything that's controlled, like Wheeler Dam, Wilson, Gunnersville, they're all controlled electronically from Chattanooga.
It's all remote. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all remote. So that, that's the reason you have a siren. The siren goes off, you got 3 minutes to get out and see what they're doing. So what reels do you use? Right now I'm using a Shimano 600 line counter reel. That's my favorite. It's a little bit on the heavy side, but what I like about it is most of the time I'm free spooling, and I've always got my thumb. And if a fish hits, it's got that huge handle on the side. All I got to do is reach across and hit it real quick. Just slap it, and it's in gear. So I've got an Abu Garcia. I've stripped 2 times now. I've stripped the gears on that thing just from the fact that, I'd reach up and hit it. A big fish would hit. And when I engaged it, it was about the time that fish decided, I want this. And I brought a 45-pounder in by hand because when I flipped it over, all I heard was and I could hear the gears just shearing the teeth off of it. Oh. So, I had to put a pair of gloves on and start handling. That is not fun when you're in current. So
and they're very angry when you catch bumping fish.
Oh yeah, they try taking a rod right out of your hand.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a 10-pounder bumping is like like catching flatheads. Flatheads just fight so much. You catch them bumping, it just seems like they're, like you said, they're angry.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I find out here, they don't give you any warning. Some places I've gone and I back bounce, you'll feel a double tap. You'll feel one bump and then they'll lay it down. Here, it's just wham.
Yeah.
That's what
it must be a Southern thing because that's how they do around. They do one or the other. Either they slam it and scare you to death, or all of a sudden you wait. Where's the weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the time, if you feel that double tap, it's just it's a smaller fish.
Yeah.
But a big fish, I know when I caught that 40 with Zach, and when Zach caught his 60, man, there was he was just hanging on to the rod.
Yeah.
As he was ripping the reel, trying to rip the reel right out of his hand. I said, "Ooh, that's a good one."
Yeah, when he caught his 65 over in Memphis, and that current was ripping. We had to chase that fish. He was like, "All right, I'm running out of line, man. I can see the spool. We gotta."
Yeah.
And that's those are the memories that.
Yeah, and Whisker and Stripes just brought up a good thing right there. Except when you bump into a flathead, you think you're hung up. Yeah, and exactly. You're trying to break off, and then all of a sudden that break off starts moving on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know. I've told this story to the people in chat before, but it's been a year and a half now. Watching a couple of guys' videos, learning how to bump, getting the courage to go up to that big hydro and bump back through it. Finally, one day we decided, okay, we're going to do it. That's it. We're going. The very first blue I ever caught bumping was 48 pounds. And he just about ripped the rod. It scared me. I did not know what was going on.
Yeah.
He hit so hard and kind of, and I wasn't using nothing but a little Ambassador 5600. That's all I had. And when he hit so hard, it's like I didn't know what to do. It's like, this can't be a catfish. There's no way this is a catfish. And then the next fish we caught was 53. I'm like, yeah, this is my favorite now. We're good.
Yeah, they definitely have an attitude when they hit.
Oh, It's unbelievable. And I had never catfished with braid before. I wasn't used to feeling a catfish with braid. So it was a totally different experience.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't back bounce with mono. It just gets too loopy.
No, it ain't gonna happen.
You know, the current picks it up, and so you have to go with the braid.
Yeah. And then my situation is weird. And Doc, you might be able to kind of pick this apart for me here, but below my hydro, the water's really deep. I mean, it's anywhere from 60 to 90 feet, depending on exactly where I'm at. And it's got these big humps in the bottom. They're 15 to 20 feet tall, but they're shaped like this.
Yeah, so you get broke off when they go over the top of them.
Well, I have done two things. I've modified my rig to where my sinker dropper and my leader are the same length. That way it kind of helps with that. But I find I do one thing that everybody does different, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, or I could do something different. But no matter how fast the current is running, I slow my boat down to less than 1 mile an hour, because I find, and I use really heavy weights, 6, 8, 10. I've used 12 ounces before.
But when you do that, you change the angle.
That's right.
Of where you're, and so that's how you're getting away with that. Yeah.
With that much weight, I'm still probably 150, 200 feet behind my boat.
Yeah.
But what I do though, I figure that's my way of being able to follow that contour as steep as it is. If I try to go any faster, I feel like I'm sailing over the top of the humps, and I'm not getting down in there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all it is a trial and error thing.
Yeah,
you just got to figure it out. As long as you're catching fish,
we catch fish.
It works.
It's extreme.
Exactly.
It's extreme. It took me a lot of practice to figure all that out, but by the time we finally got it down for my little area, and we started catching fish, like, okay, all right, well, we finally got it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while to get me. I learned bumping from, like you talked earlier, from a stationary position and walking the baits back. That's kind of how I started, and then eventually got to the point where the boat was moving, and
Well, the trolling motors have come a long way from what we used to have. Now they got the self-deployed and that kind of stuff. And boy, there's times I wish I had one of those. I get up on the front of my boat and I got to, deploy mine. But a lot of times if I'm going to stay in an area and not move very far, I'll just leave it down and just kind of cruise around with it. Don't get going real fast, but just leave it down. So
Zach does that a lot. He gives it just enough throttle to where it raises the nose.
He lifts it right out of it. He tilts the motor.
He's good, man.
And he can zip right up through there. I about died when he said, hang on. And I said, what about the trolling motor? It'll be okay. And he just lifted that thing right up out of the water, run right up to the dam, settled down. And he goes, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I do that when we're bumping. We'll go back, and I get to the end of my run that I want to make. That's all I do. I trim my motor up, and when I get on that boat, that long nose of that big boat, it'll pick it up
right up out of the water. Yeah.
Yep. Here's something I want to try different, Doc, and maybe you've heard of this or maybe you haven't. I don't know. I've never heard anyone talk about this, but I think it's the only way to go in some situations. But with them trolling motors, lay a track down. So, run up and lay a track down.
Yeah.
Then stay on your track. And because like for us, we would get blown towards the bank. We get pushed off the sides, lay a track down. And really at that point, you only got to worry about your speed and, lay a track down, hit, stay on your track, and let it keep you in line with whatever you want to fish. And you can make, more work an area more precisely by using the track feature in your trolling motor.
Right. Well, and a lot of times what I'll do here is I'll throw my big motor in gear, which, I've got a 115 horse motor, but I'll put it in and it gives me enough drag that it'll allow that trolling motor to guide the boat where I want it to go.
I've done that too. Yep.
Yeah.
I do that on my kicker lakes. So like when I go up to Hoover, I'll turn my 9.9 on and I'll get it running to where the boat's going straight. And actually, you don't even have to turn the trolling motor on if you don't want to. Just a little skag on the bottom of the trolling motor is enough to steer the boat. And I'll just use my trolling motor to steer and go wherever I want.
Yeah. Now, most of the time when I'm up near the dam, if I got somebody with me, I don't ever turn the motor off.
Track will not work going backwards.
No, but you can use north.
The heading lock.
You use north, you can use the same as that.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I get up and I point my boat where I want. I hit that heading lock, and it'll keep you. It'll keep you close.
Here a lot of it depends on what turbines they have run. Yeah. We have big ones and we have little ones. And the big ones will override the little ones. But if they got all the little turbines running, most of the time it's just a straight run down through there. They flip one of them big ones on, and then it ends up, like 9, 10, and 11 are all great big ones here on Wheeler. And, it changes. They'll just override one of them little ones that's down there.
Yeah, flow dictates everything. We were having a great time. We had a lot of flow, and then like the next day, it like dropped. And
they dropped the current right off, and that was it. The fish pulled right out.
Yep. Now we did notice we started catching them farther back off the dam when they did that.
Yeah,
like you said, they dropped back off. Is there any truth to there being smaller river sturgeon in the Scioto River? I've never heard of that. Doesn't mean it ain't true or it ain't possible, but I haven't heard of it. But I don't fish the Scioto, but a few times here and there. I haven't really fished it. Fished it for 40 years, taught me a lot.
Wow.
I seen you looking at the clock. Getting 10 o'clock
for 2 hours. Oh my goodness!
See how
easy? Tired to listen to us.
I doubt it. I did hear you say you got a doctor's appointment in the morning, though.
Yeah, but I get up at until daylight savings time is on the 13th of March.
Oh,
so normally I get up at 7 a.m. in the morning, but when daylight savings time hits, I am up at 5 a.m. and I am on the water as soon as when that sun's peeking up over the hillside, I am there on the water. So when daylight saving time comes, that's my fishing time changes. So but right now, they told me tonight, actually Lisa told me tonight that there's some guys from Ohio down here, and they're renting the room that she has. And I guess they've listened to me talk for years. So that they found out that I was down here. So I'm going to have to look them up tomorrow. And Lisa told them, and they said, well, this is our first time down there. Who do we find out to fish this area? And she goes, you need to talk to Doc Lange. She said he was wasting big fish today. So I'm going to have to go over there and find out who it is. I'm not sure who they even are, but I'm sure that they heard me from Catfish Weekly or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't seem to matter where we go. Everybody knows you.
Yeah. So that's it's cool being popular, but it's not cool, man. I got a lot of people that follow me, which I don't mind. It doesn't bother me.
Follow you physically on the water, you mean?
Yeah, follow me. Oh, there's Doc fishing over there. They'll roll up on top of me. What are you doing? Oh, well, I was trying to catch fish. Stuff like I like messing with people around here. I mean, there's a lot of good people. I love being in the South here. A lot of people, I eat breakfast every morning at a place called Bonnie's, and they see me pull in, and I walk in, and they got a cup of coffee sitting there waiting for me. I don't even have to give them my order or anything. They already know what, I'm the same creature I've always been. I don't change. I eat 3 eggs, some hash browns, toast, and bacon. And I don't change. That's the way I am. So they've gotten used to me. And, oh, you're going fishing today, huh? Yeah. I said, yeah. I said, that's why the boat's behind me.
Yeah.
I'm going duck hunting. I'm not going duck hunting. That's for sure.
I'm just taking the boat for a ride. I'm going to bring it right on back to the house.
Qualifying.
Today,
Roger, I appreciate you asking me coming on to the show.
Oh man,
I've had a blast. It's been great.
Talking fishing.
Hope everybody enjoyed themselves. I know I did. I can sit here and talk, but you all know that. So
yeah, we had like 90 some folks here at one point. So we were we was rocking and rolling. But normally this, after an hour, people start dropping off. We still got 41 people hanging out 2 hours in.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So,
but
I do appreciate it. I know I got a call today. They want me to come and talk at the Catapalooza.
Oh yeah.
I think it's in Gatlinburg.
Yep, it's in Gatlinburg.
Yep. And I got a call today about that, and they asked me, would you come and please talk? And I found out Lisa Haraway said something to somebody, and she goes, "You're going to hate me for this." And I said, "What?" She said, "I put your name out there for somebody to talk." And I went, "What?" And then sure enough, I got the call today, and I said, "Well, I need to check my calendar and make sure." But if I get an opportunity to stand in front of a bunch of people, I love doing that. I just have a good time. It's just another outreach that I can do, and maybe just help somebody to catch, that fish of a lifetime. That's the big thing, catching that fish and just having fun, enjoying it. As everybody knows, I smile more since I moved to Alabama because I'm always on big fish. And a lot of people, a lot of people don't think a 30-pounder is a big fish. Man, it's a big fish. Anybody, but 70 and 80s are really big fish. But I'm not going to turn down a 30. I just love to catch fish. It just amazes me how powerful these fish are.
Yeah, I think that as we all strive for the conservation of catfish, I feel that the more knowledge and the more capable somebody is going out and catching a good fish or catching quantity of fish, the more people that's going to care about it, and the more people going to have the confidence to take their kids out, their neighbors out, or things like that. And in the long run, that's what it's going to take. The more people that care about catfish is what it's going to take to save them. So. Unfortunately, the daggone Catapalooza is it's in Pigeon Forge. I seen Bobcat put it in there for us. It's on the same weekend as Fishing for Freedom, Quincy, Illinois, and I go to that event every year. So I didn't get to make.
I went to that for several years. That's a good program up there. I enjoy doing that.
I love it. It's so well ran, and the cause is. It's just a good time. We went last year. It was actually Zach's very first time going there, and he took second place.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Second place. And I was like, man, what in the world? He's good, man. He don't have the screen presence as some of us other ones guys do, and he's okay with that. But man, take nothing away from Zach.
He
knows his stuff. He's good. Yeah, he is good. So, all right, buddy. Well, thank you again for
thank you so much.
I appreciate it. People for over 2 hours, and thank you guys all in chat for sticking it out with us and having a good time tonight. Hopefully, you've enjoyed yourself. If so, hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already, and we will see you back here next Tuesday night, same cat time, same cat channel. See you guys.
Bon pêcher, everybody.
See you, everybody.